and trying to do something without anything experiential going into yourself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is creating an emptiness also.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
for a very long period of time, I was also seeking someone like a guru. Like, I've been, looking for someone who also feels like me, who also feels that architecture is not about just building buildings, who also do that process in their life, who have been trying something like that. And I
Yeah.
really couldn't find someone. I know my friends who are not very happy doing what they are doing, but they are able to stick to it, which is great, which I couldn't do.
Yeah.
But yeah, this connection is something that is very important to discuss. Yeah, go ahead. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I think references, no, like you have a lot of Google and you can Google a lot of things you think, but actually the things that mean a lot to you, I certainly feel there's so many women, for example, who've broken thresholds in Madras, in Chennai, probably
hmm,
within the 5 kilometer radius that I grew up in, and even in
huh,
where your hometown, there would have been.
true.
But if you don't
Yeah.
know those references, if you don't have that,
Hmm,
it's also a
hmm,
loss of, it's not just a loss of stories, but it's a loss of your uh, kind of orientation sometimes, no, because you're
hmm.
only YouTube, it's flooded with, especially growing up, it was flooded with content from the US, and it's flooded from the content
Yeah.
of Europe. It's a very Europe centric Western way of looking, and it's not a bad
Huh.
thing, but it's also it sometimes uproots you from your own lens, no, like you're
Hmm.
trying to look at your world from something that's outside, something that's
Huh.
foreign,
Yeah.
right? You don't even
Yeah.
know how to uphold, or I mean stand on your own ground and say this is
Hmm.
what I am, and these are the people who created this city that I live in, and these are the
Hmm. Hmm.
struggles
Hmm.
we're going through. The news,
Hmm.
I mean, it doesn't always help. So like how do you really go
Yeah.
about it?
Huh.
So it's been interesting, and I felt like for me things changed, and I'm sure for you also things changed when you do take the effort to connect with the right people in your own uh,
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
surrounding.
Yeah.
So when I met,
Very much.
I was in Dakshin Chitra, and I met Sashikala
Hmm.
ma'am. I was still in third year college, and
Hmm.
I heard her speak just for half an hour because she was very busy and she was traveling. And there was
Hmm.
something so clear about the message she was communicating, something very authentic. She said,
Hmm.
anything new that you learn requires you to go back to your past and to change that some wiring. And basically, she was
Hmm.
acknowledging that learning is a very deep process, and it's not just putting things,
Hmm.
grabbing and putting it, or being immediately productive. None of that. So she was
Hmm.
basically
Yeah.
talking about things that I felt nobody really was acknowledging. No elder in the institutions, no teachers in the institutions were really giving
Hmm.
you the time or the space to
Hmm.
sit down and ask. And so it opened up
Hmm.
something. So I think for me, the reference that I see in her, because she's a woman and she's
Hmm.
actually my grandmom's generation, and it's
Hmm.
definitely created a lot of orientation, knowing that she has crossed through all that,
Hmm.
and of course even within our families, no, we've all had
True.
heard stories of familial the struggles, like
Hmm.
we do come
Hmm.
from a society that's gone through a certain very
Hmm.
intense history, like there has been
Hmm.
colonization, there has been a brutal, I think, destruction of our own cultural roots, and the way
Yeah.
that your grandmom has, and my grandmom, or my granddad and your granddad, the way they have worked through it is actually quite something. It's just that we don't know, we're not stopping and looking at it, or like, we're
Yeah.
tending to judge it, and that can be a very
Yeah. Hmm.
difficult thing, because what happens is you judge it, you say, oh, they're into some religious things, and
Hmm.
there's automatically in put into a certain, I don't want to connect with that. And you feel like the education that you're given. Can you hear me?
You were telling about ancestors and how we look down.
Yeah,
on
in a
their
sense,
history.
I don't think we fully know our own uh, story fully, like our own history fully, like, so yeah, there's a tendency
Hmm.
to kind of say, dismiss it and say, okay, maybe we should just focus on the present and future and make our cities like Singapore. then
Oh yeah.
and then not realize that, hey, we actually are working through so many layers of so
uh,
many things, and there's so much. I feel like people are living in different timelines at the same time, and um,
exactly.
so many,
Hmm.
there's such diversity here. And if we don't open
Hmm.
a dialogue across the um,
Hmm.
board, and I feel
Hmm.
like speaking with the carpenter, speaking to the farmer, getting yourself into spaces where you are out of your comfort bubble, not only surrounded by
Hmm.
educated city
Hmm.
folks, or certain things you will do, certain things. I think it's good to break out of that, become uncomfortable at times
Hmm.
also, because it's a growth.
Hmm.
Cannot be
Yeah.
always stick to predictable like routines.
True.
You
True.
have to
Hmm.
push yourself, I feel. Yeah. And that's where you
Cool.
actually, I think, find a lot of answers. I think in previous conversations about how uh, I think there are certain cultures or countries that have taken up a lot of space in the world for
Hmm.
whatever.
Yeah.
And there are
Yeah.
certain cultures that have had to be, they've been pushed back or sidelined,
Pushed back.
right?
Yeah. Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I'm just speaking from a larger collective point of view, because as important as our
Uh-huh.
individual journey is, I think
Hmm.
you have to, it's a given that you are always connected to a larger collective. And whether
Hmm.
you're sitting in some very isolated place or not, you are connected. But
Hmm.
what collective are you connected to, and what is your place in the world? I feel
Okay. Hmm.
understand that, and you cannot
Okay.
possibly begin to fully understand it unless you connect to your own family, or connect to your own listening and open to
Hmm.
what has happened around you, in the
Hmm.
collective
Hmm.
space.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
trying to understand it, it's not, I feel like it's not necessarily understanding it as a concept and taking a lot of history lessons, but being open to the struggles of your immediate community,
Hmm.
being open to
Hmm.
what is their take on it, because it is a different perspective. Even a generation above
Yeah.
us, to us, there is a huge difference
Hmm.
in the priorities. So the
Hmm.
reason why we feel
Yeah.
fear sometimes, or a disconnect
Hmm.
from being understood, it's not
Hmm.
because um, our parents or our previous generations do not want to connect with us. It's just that their journeys have been very different in a way.
Hmm.
And
Hmm. Hmm.
so I think it's important and our responsibility to find the common thread, because there is a common thread. And when you find that,
Okay.
what
Hmm.
happens
Hmm.
is you will be a lot more clearer. Basically, you won't be fighting against
Hmm.
your
Hmm.
own roots. Basically,
Hmm. Hmm.
you will
Hmm.
start to
Huh.
actually nurture them and say, yes, this has been difficult. Yes,
Hmm. Hmm.
uh,
Hmm.
we are grappling with basically not knowing how to claim our space in the world, no? Because all
Yeah.
of that, right? Because we're also talking
Hmm.
about
Hmm. Hmm.
self-esteem as a collective. We're talking about self-esteem as an individual.
Exactly.
But collectively, if there
True.
has been a certain kind of not enough acknowledgement given to the achievements coming from that culture,
Hmm.
there is a very
Hmm.
different
Hmm.
perspective the Eastern cultures hold compared to the Western,
Hmm. Hmm.
which is actually there is a need
Hmm.
for in the world, right? Like the experiential
Uh,
learning and
hmm.
the entire stream of knowledge in yoga and vastu and all of these
True.
deeper, in a sense, what I mean
Hmm.
by deeper is also older, um, older 2000-year-old and traditions,
Hmm.
they have synthesized so much within them. And
Hmm. Hmm.
so
Hmm.
I feel like there's a lot there, and you don't necessarily
Hmm.
need to constantly being looking to somewhere else for your own
Hmm.
well-being, your own sustenance. But just making
Okay.
yourself, it's not easy, because everywhere around
Yeah.
you, you're being asked to push yourself to a different
Push.
location, or
Yeah.
the idea of being progressive is often from a very Western centric lens, like
Hmm.
um,
Hmm. Hmm.
but how do you embody your own um, uh, your most authentic self? I
Hmm.
think
Hmm.
that requires you to acknowledge all of it. So if you
Hmm.
want
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
take meaningful steps forward, I'm saying, then I think things fall
Okay.
into place. It has
Hmm.
been
Hmm.
like that
Hmm.
in my journey. It has been like I've had to
Okay.
really give space
Hmm.
to understanding what the previous generations have gone through, because if you don't understand it, then you're easily going to judge and say, no, I know better. There's an arrogance,
Yeah.
because we have all these,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
we have our concepts and intellectualized everything into compartments, and Google will
Exactly.
affirm it. There'll be all these writers and
Yeah.
all these things, like a lot of body of knowledge, but when it comes to basically
Yeah.
understanding your own, how
Hmm.
open
Hmm.
are you, that takes a different kind of empathy and sensitivity, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Connecting to
Yeah.
people on that level. We spoke about it, I think, last time. Coming down from
Yeah.
the body, from the mind into our bodies, and connecting it at the heart level. No, like
Yeah.
connect
Yeah.
from in a more open way.
Hmm.
Yeah, is that
True,
something
and
that's
that
making sense?
sensitivity and empathy, yeah, yeah, that makes sense because that empathy and sensitivity is something that I was lacking for myself
Yeah.
while doing this. That is where I was struggling, you know, that is where I was like not accepting myself, you know, not accepting, not validating my journey, even though I was doing things that were
Hmm.
meaningful for me. I was not validating it enough, thinking that this is not giving me enough money. This is not giving me enough money. But now this have put me in a place where now people are like, okay, you're doing good. I'm like, really, like
Hmm.
that.
Yeah, I think when you're looking constantly for something external, like the money is
Hmm.
always a parameter now. Like it's
Exactly. Yeah,
bit
it is.
uh, it takes up so much of your space. Like if you're making this
Yeah.
much, then you're doing well in life. But
Yeah.
what happens when you're making that much money? How are you even paying attention to your health? Are you even paying attention to the relationships around you?
Hmm.
Are you even paying attention to
Hmm.
your there are certain times you really need to rest, you really need to rejuvenate
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
be in balance, no? So sometimes the pursuit of money becomes more than all this, and it can,
True. True. True.
yeah. So
Okay.
you chose to get into yoga, and there was a reason probably for it, right? What do
Yeah.
you
I.
think pulled you in that direction?
I mean, in my childhood, the logical reason is from my childhood, I had a lot of sinus problems and a lot of health issues, breathing difficulty, and all these things. So from my college, I kept on doing yoga by seeing YouTube, which is not advisable advisable now, but I've managed to do that. Huh. Luckily, I did not put myself into any trouble. I was doing basic postures and stuff for some time, and that have helped me to come out of my sinus. And then I was advised to have tablets throughout my life for my sinus. And then
Hmm.
I had this bigger dreams to go to Himalayas and do wildlife research and stuff. I was like, I cannot be just taking tablets all my life. So I want to heal myself. And I was just 21, 20 at that point of time. And then
Hmm.
I found it very ridiculous to just take tablets throughout my life. I was like, dude, seriously, there
Hmm.
should be a way I should heal myself. There should be a way, at least physically, like
Hmm.
I could just heal myself naturally and then live, because
Yeah.
I've been doing my routine. And then that is where those are the times I also realized that how important it is for me to have my routine. Like, after struggling so much, being so well to do, I mean, doing not well to do, like being so, accomplishing at least till my 20s, If that is not there, compromising on my time and life and everything, then what is the point of accomplishing things for other people?
Yeah.
That is the main reason. Those are the reasons I was doing yoga and trying to fit fit into my lifestyle. And now, yeah, now yoga helped me, and then I pursued it a little more so that I can help other people and teach.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the journey.
And there's a lot there, no? There's a lot to learn from that stream of knowledge, yoga, no?
True, very
And
much. Yeah, yeah. And it's an
yeah,
ocean.
yeah. And it's not just
And then this.
aligning. I think it satisfies everything. Like I feel like I've gotten glimpses of the work that some of the yoga teachers do at Ritambra. They are the Krishnamacharya tradition, so they hold a lot of dialogues about different aspects of yoga, not just the physical asanas. It's also an orientation of the the mental framework and connecting to your emotions in a certain way. And it's very
True.
interesting the work that the founders have done, like Raghu sir. And so they say that like there are Navarasas in the Indian tradition, right? Like there are all these 9 emotions. You've got anger, compassion, and love, and fear, and all that. And they say that you're considered to be a healthy individual, not if you shut out fear and shut out anger, or say that I'm not supposed to feel these things, but actually, as the situation calls for it, you feel it, you experience it, and you come back to your center, the rasa of Shantam, in a complete way, where the residue of that emotion is no longer there. So that's a healthy way. Oftentimes we don't fully process it, so we are holding on to things. And I
Very
learned
much.
this from them, and I thought it was so important. We are not taught this necessarily.
Very
so
true.
so finding spaces that talk about this, and with teachers who have gone through this, helped people through these processes, is very important. And that's also yoga. That's also a big part of it.
True. This is in a very deeper level, but this can, concise to this word, which is like, lifestyle balance. When you have your time, you will be able to think about yourself. You can go through the emotions, but often we don't have time.
Yeah.
We have some sorries, we have some thanks left over that's not said. We have some, we kept on holding on to these things. Next day we are not able to process that emotion, or to say sorry, or to tell the people, even maybe our friends or the people acquaintance, like we just don't address anything that is related to emotion.
Exactly. You don't address it.
We kind of run away from it. We always try to run away from it, thinking that is professional.
Yeah. And because the importance is always given to the external pursuits, no? Oh, I'm achieving so much, and I'm making this much, and I'm doing this much outwardly, but you're not addressing these things. You think it's not important because it's intangible, no? But what a difference it makes. Yeah. And that's what I was thinking. It's quite, there's an irony in this, because we are living in today's world with so much, the materialistic comforts are increasing. Like, the amount of consumerism and the purchasing ability of people is increasing. At the same time, the emotional wellness and the feeling of connectedness is drastically decreasing. So the
coming down.
cases of depression and aloneness,
loneliness. See, I have also I have come across so many people who are really like well-to-do, like really well-to-do. I have like friends from IIT and people whom I met in ashram. They are like really well-to-do. But this thing that you're saying is like 100% true. These people are really trying to slow them down. They can make a lakh in 2 days, lakh in 3-4 days. They can do that, but they really feel so empty. They are like, I want to stop this. It also becomes an addiction once you start making money. you don't want to stop it and look back.
Hmm.
So for them, that is also a struggle. I have enough, then I don't know what I am. I have enough. I have no. I don't feel. I don't have an identity.
Yeah, I think attaching your self-worth, where do you attach it? That's important, no?
True.
So
True.
that's tricky. Yeah, yeah. So you must have learned
Very interesting.
about their journeys then, if you have,
A lot. A lot. So many people.
and it does show you a
True.
different part of the world, no? Like it does show you that.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I've been thinking, okay, I've done enough things that I want to do. I am balanced now. Like, inside, I feel more calming for myself. Now I have to earn. Now I'm like into the rush of, okay, I have to earn, I have to earn. But when I see them, I can get my balance. Like, okay, it's not a rush.
Yeah.
It's okay because that will not give you, the everything that you want,
Exactly. Yeah. So I
like
think
that.
eventually you're just working through your own, like what you hold in your mind and your
So,
illusions and all that. Like,
yeah, it's always, we know what we want. To get there, to reach that deeper level of, okay, this is what I want, there is a lot of cloud around it, there's a lot of things around it. We
yeah,
have to like do that and get
right.
there.
So you think you want so many other things, when actually you really want
When
something
I
simple. Yeah.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. And I think even money, I think it's confused because oftentimes you want to feel abundant, you want to feel secure.
uh,
And
hmm.
all that is not necessarily what money can always give you. You can feel a sense of, I feel a sense of abundance living in a village next to
uh,
Pondicherry that I can never feel when I'm in a hotel, kind of five-star hotel
True.
in Chennai.
True.
I
True.
don't know why. I
Hmm.
mean, I know why. I think we all know why if we think about it, because you're surrounded by nature
Yeah.
that is just naturally abundant and it's just out there,
True.
and there is no kind of, oh, it's not restrictive at all. So it's free and abundant,
True.
and also that inner
Hmm.
security I feel is as important as outer uh, kind of
Hmm.
security. You have to, of course, take care of your physical
Hmm.
well-being and make sure you have enough. You put out work, you earn. There is a balance there that
Hmm.
I think nobody can say this is the right way, because for each person is very different.
It
And
differs. Yeah, it differs.
but focusing on inner security, and that it does not come from things that are external. It comes from something
Hmm.
else. It comes from, actually, I feel, also listening to you speak, it comes from going through your own processes fully, like completing your exploration
Hmm.
and taking your questioning
Hmm.
seriously, even admitting to yourself that, hey, I'm feeling insecure, being authentic to that, no?
Hmm.
That gives an immense
Hmm.
amount of security within yourself. You're not constantly saying, I will only say
Hmm.
it or I will only acknowledge it if these 50 people or 30 people on social media or whatever talk about it, or,
Hmm.
you're able to do it on your own.
True.
There's a firm ground.
Hmm.
So, yeah,
True.
yeah,
That's interesting. And I think now we have covered overall the
yeah.
broader picture of what is what. I
Mm-hmm.
think in the further sessions we will go deeper into these topics,
Yeah.
like, like mainly like connecting to people and
Hmm.
having a community,
Hmm.
like how you establish your own community, who resonates with you, who is on the same journey. That is very, very important.
Yeah.
We can talk about it.
Hmm.
And what else do we? I think we have elaborately talked about architecture and our journey
Hmm. Yeah.
for
And I think
now.
we've acknowledged that, maybe later on we can also talk about the different transitions, no? Like, there
Huh.
are so many thresholds in a person's life, and
Hmm.
there are so many shifts that you kind of feel like you need to do. Sometimes there are gaps where nothing else seems like speaking to you, so you can't do anything but sit back and process. Like, I think that last year Corona also was, for many people, like that, like
Yeah.
taking a step back, and
Hmm.
it was not always easy, because you had to withdraw from being constantly outwardly kind of moving and productive. You had to actually stay at home and actually
True.
connect from a different space. So yeah, we can go into all that later in the later sessions. And this
We'll
was
go on.
good.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
This feels really good. And I just wanted to have this one note before finishing. One thing that you said was we are not trying to help ourselves. I mean, you said like when you were helping me, you were also trying to help yourself. This
Yeah.
is something that we can discuss in a broader sense, because I had a lot of my experience in that, and also my friends' experience helping me in that.
Right.
So I think we need a separate session on community and how we need to help each other in this fast-paced world, and that
Yes.
how that's going to help ourselves
Yes,
move further.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Because
Perfect.
nobody is separate. I think our experiences are so connected. So when you're speaking about some aspect, maybe I would have gone through
Yeah.
it at a certain earlier period,
True.
but it's affirming a lot more. And it's you have a different
Hmm.
perspective that you bring actually to the person who
Hmm.
is supposed to be guiding you or helping you. I think it's always a two-way process. And this is actually important
It is.
because my teacher, like she was also saying that in healing or
Huh.
in other kind of therapy work, when people are helping other people through transitions, it's
Yeah.
actually you don't have the solution. Like you as a healer don't. You're just creating a space of listening, and you are
Yeah.
growing in that process. So even she's saying that it's important to know that nature will do its work, and you can be
Huh.
a medium in this process,
Huh.
but it's not you, no.
Huh.
Sometimes the ego comes in and
True.
says, oh, I'm helping you, and then
Uh-huh.
which is
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yeah.
So
True.
yeah.
Very interesting. So yeah.
So
So
thank
yeah, we
you.
will talk on these things further. Very,
Mm.
very interesting. Thanks for this time, and
Yeah.
it's very, very deep conversation. Let's keep this
Always a
going.
pleasure. Yes. And I
Thank
think
you.
that's what we're
Thank you,
creating
Chandana.
here, no? It's like a very
True.
equal space, and
Hmm.
just bringing out things that are meaningful and authentic to us. So, yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
And it'll make a difference for sure. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you then. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, Kavin.